When you get the respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for choosing to hang out with your host, the Conservative Bird, and me, Double D, and you're on the Brick Road Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We really appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. Also, if you could, please make sure to hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and smash the notification. It's the quick, easy, and free way to help this channel grow as big as possible. Double D, the chess master, has done it again.
Yes, he has. You know, all these people were turning against him, and everybody was like, "Oh, Trump is crazy," or Trump is nuts, and what he's doing is wrong, and I don't support it. Over and over and over. Yeah, he's taking us to war. He's taking us, but as always, the man could literally fall into a pile of dung and always come out smelling like a rose. He is the chess master. He is the master negotiator. Donald Trump is the art of the deal, and I don't care what anybody says. This man, I wouldn't trust anybody more in this position right now than that man. Right. That's where I'm at.
So if you guys have been living under a rock, Double D, Donald Trump, Double D, we love Double D.
We love Double D.
Donald Trump got Iran to agree to a 2-week ceasefire and open up the Strait of Hormuz. This is a huge win. This is something that nobody thought he could get done. And like you were saying, people were accusing him of possibly committing war crimes, this, that, and the third, wanting to throw him in jail. Even Alex Jones, of all people, was calling for Donald Trump to get the 25th Amendment to him. Alex Jones, of all people. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you, of all people, should know better.
Yeah, he should have known that. I mean, I had faith in it all along, in case anybody forgot.
I was literally having a wait-and-see attitude about it.
Yeah, I just, you know, I mean, how many times have I read his book now? 3 times, I think, now.
Right.
I mean, I read it for entertainment now because it's just fun to read. But the truth be told, I mean, I wouldn't trust anybody else at this moment. That's all I can say. I'm so glad that this man is in charge of this situation. Because if it was Joe Biden, Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and honestly, even Ronald Reagan, I mean, Ronald Reagan should have did this 47 years ago.
Yeah. So,
and I love Reagan. That's like my favorite president of all. Well, he's my second favorite president of all time now.
So, like I said, you know, like we were saying, he got them to agree to a 2-week ceasefire. If you guys don't know, like literally the media has been grilling this man over this forever, and this was just yesterday, right before it happened. This clip we're about to show
right here. Around 2:00 Eastern time, actually. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure violate the Geneva Conventions and international law.
Who are you with?
I'm with the New York Times. Zolan from the New York Times. Are you
failing?
Are you concerned?
Circulation way down at the New York Times.
Are you concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
no,
a
crime?
No.
I hope I don't have to do it. But again, I just said 47 years they've been negotiating with these people. They're great negotiators.
Why would that
and because they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And if somebody that takes my place someday is weak and ineffective, which possibly that will happen because we had numerous presidents that were weak, ineffective, and afraid of Iran. We're never going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you think it's okay for people that are sick of mind, that are tough, smart, and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint, from a any which way you want to say, mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen.
I love how he directs that answer strictly at that guy and only that guy and only for the New York Times. Like nobody else gets that answer. You get that answer, buddy.
That's
you can
right.
tell your guys sticking up your ass.
Pretty much, dude. Dude, Trump really trolls these guys, dude. He is the master of the troll, bro. He knows it. He trolls the media like no other. And he was right, though, dude. There hasn't been another president that has been willing to take on Iran's threats. For 47 years, they've been saying death to America. At one point or another, do we punch him and give him a black eye?
Right.
And he's given them the black eye. He gave it to them.
Yep.
And if they don't learn from this one, they're going to get told twice with another black eye.
Yep, and if not, they might get a bloody nose. If they might get a bloody nose after that, then a broken jaw, and
a couple of teeth and get a jaw broken.
Yeah,
maybe get a.
They need to learn their lesson.
You know, maybe Iran becomes a parking lot or a golf course.
I just love I just love the way he just talked directly to that guy, like just him.
Yeah, dude. The best part about it was he was being brutally honest. Though.
Right, it's great, dude.
I mean, say what you will, it was brutally honest.
Quite. You no longer have credibility. Because the New York Times said, oh, Trump won't win the election, and I won in a landslide. I won every swing state. New York Times said, oh, Trump won't win the election. New York Times has no credibility. The credibility they have is it used to be all the news that's fit to print. The old gray lady, it was great, but they're running on past fumes, and you can't keep doing that. You have to be able to give the correct news, and people like you, who I know, are fake. You're fake. Go.
Be sure to like
He's right. He's right, dude. He is. All they're trying to do is get their viewers, whatever's left of that viewership, to show up on social media and read that stupid newspaper. And the truth be told, the rags that are out there that aren't that much better are still getting more views and clicks than the New York Times. Because, dude, I'm surprised you didn't call them losers.
Yeah. No, they are losers.
You know, because usually they're like, because you're a loser. You know,
right.
He didn't do it this time. But I'm going to say it for the president. New York Times, you're a loser.
You're a loser. So, like we were saying, Trump got the 2-week ceasefire. Here they are breaking it down a little bit on CBS.
We start here at 6 tonight with breaking news. President Trump backing off his threats to launch a large-scale attack against Iran, citing progress.
You see how they try to word things? Don't say backing off. You could say Trump came to an agreement for a ceasefire for 2 weeks. He's not backing off because he'll still bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah, and we've been bombing the shit out of them for over a month. So they, if anything, they're the ones that are always saying we shouldn't be over in Iran. We shouldn't be bombing them. So they should be saying, thank God, I'm so glad that Donald Trump stopped bombing them for right now for 2 weeks. Personally, myself, I think we're going to be back to bombing them in 2 weeks, though.
In negotiations. Let's get right to political reporter Chris Tide, who has the latest on this situation that really just changed in the last 20 or 25 minutes.
Since you signed off at 5 o'clock and we kicked on here at 6, at 7 o'clock Chicago time, Joe, had been the focal point, of course, if Iran did not hammer out a deal acceptable to the president, which included, among other things, reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The president said, and I'm quoting here, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. He said, I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. 90 minutes before an air campaign to knock out bridges and power plants would have been triggered, the president posting a 2-week ceasefire is now on, pending the opening of the strait. Here's what he wrote on.
Before we get into it, how pathetic was it of the Iranian government to put women and children around the power plants and on the bridges?
I was just going to ask you about that.
How extremely pathetic and weak individuals and men are you to do something like that? You are pussies. A bunch of Iranian fucking pussies.
You know what it also proves? It also proves that they were taking the president seriously, too.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, I think even with the children on the bridges and the children, I think he would have gone ahead and bombed it anyway.
You never know.
And you know what?
I'm glad we didn't have to find out.
We didn't put their children in harm's way. The Iranian government put their children in harm's way. America didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that. We're a lot of things, but they're the ones that put those children there.
Yeah.
Now, a school has already been taken out. Now, that one was by accident, but they did double tap that motherfucker, though. But that was by accident.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? Sometimes if you want to fuck with the bull, you're going to get the horns.
Truth Social saying, and I'm trimming this down, he says the Prime Minister and Field Marshal of Pakistan said that they wanted him to hold off the destructive force, subject to Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. I agree, the president said, to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks, calling it a double-sided ceasefire. Again, these are the president's words. The reason for doing so, Trump said, is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace, saying the White House received a 10-point proposal and believe it is workable based on ways to negotiate further. Almost all points of past contention, the president said, have been agreed to between the U.S. and Iran. We should point out we have not yet heard from the Iranian government to corroborate all of this. In the days leading up to...
Yeah, but these are the same pussies that put women and children, like we were just saying on the bridge. Yeah. Are we going to expect them to not lie to us, to tell us the truth? No. Who cares what the Iranian government has to say? Fuck them.
Dude, they're going to practice taqiyya anyway, which allows the Muslims in general to lie to protect themselves or protect their existence. And I would also like to point out one more thing that I thought was kind of funny, and I watched this last night. We're not going to pull up the video. If our audience wants to go look it up, they can definitely go look it up. They'll find it out there. But yesterday when he was talking to the media about the success and being that we basically have won to open up the Strait of Hormuz, and they were talking about the Iranians still wanted to impose a toll on people passing through. The president was like, no, we should impose that toll. We are the winners. We get the spoils of the war. Therefore, we'll impose the tolls on the Europeans and whoever else has to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And you know what? I'm cool with that.
I'm 1,000% cool with that. And you want to know the craziest thing to me, Double D, is people act like Trump, like, oh, I'm just deciding to go after Iran. I'm just now not liking Iran. Yeah. No, Trump's been talking about this for the past 35 to 40 years.
Or, dude, as a matter of fact, 46 years. 46
I was born in 86, right?
Right.
He was talking about this before I was born.
In 1980, right after Ronald Reagan, right before Ronald Reagan got elected president in November of that same year. So he was saying this then when Jimmy Carter was still president.
So we're going to end this video, you guys, with us showing you Trump is not just out of nowhere deciding to do this with Iran. This has been something that he's been talking about for 45 plus years.
Yeah, he definitely has a history of what he would do in this situation. So, you know what? He's the president now. So honestly, he kind of has to live up to his own words. Realistically, he has to live up to them, right?
Right.
Am I right or wrong? So, he's just doing what he's been saying all along.
Would you have wanted to be one of those men to have gone to Iran, and taken those fellows out?
No, I wouldn't have wanted to be, but I would have done it.
Would you?
Absolutely. If I were the age, if I were in the military.
There were a lot of those fellas who went for that aborted coup who were 34 years old and older. They were your age.
That's right.
If you were called upon, would you? I know it's easy to say, yes, of course I would go. But if the phone rang right now and there was someone from the Selective Service that said, Donald, we're taking every young man 34 years of age, we're sending him to war, would you go to war?
No, I don't see a war. You see, the war this is not a Vietnam situation, fortunately. The war, in fact, with Iraq.
There is a war waging there right now.
Oh, yes, there is a war, and it's a war where nobody has any tanks, has any guns. It's a war where everyone's standing around. That would have been the easiest victory we would have ever won, in my opinion.
When I look at television,
he's consistent.
He's not lying right there at all.
And he's still consistent to this day.
Yep.
To this day,
he shot up.
Says the same thing about.
You're talking about two non-existent armies. I mean,
the president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. This is a great time to negotiate. Unfortunately, we have a president that doesn't know the first thing about negotiation. We have a real problem in the White House. So I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
I mean, as it turned out, I don't think that I don't believe that the President Barack Obama actually did attack Iran.
And the other countries, and the other countries tend to do
Sorry.
as you.
We'll cut that out. I didn't mean to do that. Go ahead. Say what you were saying again.
I said I don't think Barack Obama actually ended up doing that, but there certainly was a lot of talk about it at the time, for sure.
Yeah, but this wasn't a war, though. This was us putting our foot down.
Yeah, this was finally us saying, hey, we're done with your shit. Enough's enough. And if you don't stop it, we're going to turn you into a fucking parking lot.
And what people don't realize is what Donald Trump was talking about right there in 2011 was starting a war, another never-ending war.
Yeah, for the sole purpose of just guaranteeing that he would get reelected.
Exactly.
Donald Trump actually ran on ending the wars, which he did. He's ended 8 wars throughout the world.
Right.
But Iran they're just like a thorn in our side, which I honestly believe Ronald Reagan should have destroyed that thorn back in 1981, but he didn't. So here we are in 2026. At some point or another, Iran's got to come around or they're going to be blown off the frickin' map. It's as simple as that.
So we got one more clip of him in 87 also talking about it.
Dave, there we go.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean we take their oil?
You go in.
How do we go in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me. Yeah? You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
I mean,
right. He's absolutely right.
So this just goes to the naysayers who were saying, oh, Trump's just starting this, blah, blah, blah. No, Trump's had this position for 45 plus years. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, dude, I could give a rat's ass what the media has to say. He's been consistent time and time again. And keep in mind, we're talking about a time I really wasn't that big of a Trump fan myself. Right. I didn't really even start liking the guy until 2018 when I saw how great of a president he was the first term. Before that, I was just as much of a cynic as the rest of them are. But let's be honest, the dude's the master, man, whether they like it or not. He's the master player, the master chess player, and he has played the media like fools. He played Barbara Walters. In hindsight, Barbara Walters looks like an idiot now.
That's true.
Back then, everybody thought she was the greatest thing since sliced bread in the wheel. But today, when you look back at it in hindsight, I see weakness.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
I agree.
Weakness in the media. And what do we still see today, Bird? What do we see today in the media?
Oh, it's even weaker. Liberalism at its finest. Weakness at its finest.
That's right. Weakness and wokeness, which just makes it even weaker. That's absolutely correct. So
if you ask me, I'm going to end it with this. Trump's playing chess. The rest of the world is playing checkers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's already put the pawns in place, and I think he's already checkmated them all, especially Iran. And as far as Europe and NATO go, well, we all know where I stand. I'm ready to leave NATO.
Yeah.
And honestly, 24% of America right now wants to leave NATO too, and another 45% of that same proportion of people polled don't want to leave NATO, but they believe that we should stop paying for everything.
Yeah,
and this is our perfect opportunity. This Iran situation, it's going to make us the king player. And we do have the checkmate right now, and it's time to play that checkmate before, like he said earlier, we have another weaker leader or a weaker president coming in that just can't play the game as well. Because that is going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
So we need to play our cards now.
Yep. I agree. So on that note, we're going to end it. Most importantly, I just want to thank God, because without him, none of this is possible. I want to thank Double D, thank my friends and family, and thank the audience.
As always, Bird, thanks for making our show happen. Audience, without you, you're the reason we're the reason. So without you, we're nothing. And most importantly, without my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I am nothing. And with all that, good night, y'all.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Peace.